All right, so this is Epic Sketch Time for August 9th, 2016. My name is James Stowe. I am a cartoonist and illustrator. I make a little web cartoon called Sidekick Quest. You can read it on sidekickquest.com. And tonight I am joined by 4 other esteemed cartoonists. Please take a few moments to introduce yourself.
My name is Mark Monlux, and I do a web comic called The Comic Critic and another web comic called The Return of Stickman. And I work full-time as a freelance illustrator.
I'm Bill Morse. I'm a cartoonist and illustrator, and I do a webcomic called Rhapsodies.
I am Brett Giuliano. I'm an artist and illustrator, and I do a comic called Dust Bunny Mafia.
My name's Pat McHugh, I do The Devil and Mr. Gandhi, available at devilandgandhi.com.
All right, man, I had a little ring rust. It's been, I think I've been out of Epic Sketch Time almost the entire summer. So I'm glad that I am back. With a new computer even.
Cool.
Which hopefully won't mess up. So for the next hour or so, we're going to be sketching, hopefully epically, and talking about stuff. So hopefully you guys will be entertained by our little drawings. And I'm going to try to invite some more people. So feel free to start drawing, everybody.
Okay.
I'm curious to know what everybody's working on tonight.
I'm continuing work on this illustration of 3 witches, which is coming along nicely, and as soon as I get this bleeping screen share working, I can show it off properly, but it's not cooperating tonight.
What about everybody else? What are you guys working on?
Well, I'm actually working on my comic, but I'm actually going to kind of leave my computer on autopilot for a little while I finish actually hand inking a piece, and then I'll come back in and scan it and letter it and hopefully post it tonight.
I don't have anything to work on yet. I was supposed to storyboard sketch out the next couple strips, but I didn't get around to it earlier, so we'll see what happens.
And I am working on all things Kickstarter. Now that I have a computer back, I need to make up a lot of lost time.
Nah, it's not like you have anybody waiting on you or anything, right?
No, it's not like they haven't already paid me thousands of dollars.
Yeah, so you're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
You can push it off.
So I finally saw Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Wait, is the live-action movie Batman vs. Superman called Dawn of Justice?
That's right.
I had no idea. As if Batman vs. Superman was not enough.
And there you have the entire theme of the movie.
The Dawn of Justice?
Well, the fact that Batman vs. Superman apparently wasn't enough, they had to do little quick time their way of introducing the other potential Justice League members was by having Wonder Woman open up computer files of little QuickTime movies.
Wait, what? Is that real?
Unfortunately, that's what I hadn't heard that particular detail, but yes.
Huh.
This, of course, from a computer from LexCorp that Bruce Wayne had hijacked the information from.
Wait, so there is hacking in Batman vs. Superman?
There's hacking. There are guns and bullets. And
But Batman uses a gun, right? This Batman is a gun shooter.
well, I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh, for Pete's sake,
Spoil it.
Batman vs. Superman. No one cares.
There was, I would say that the car did most of the shooting. And the time that he was shooting was either a dream sequence or a future sequence. So they're having a lot of fun. Oh, dear God.
Wait, was there both a dream sequence and...
No one. Congratulations and salutations. You reached Mark Mullick's among. Hello? Who's this? Hello? Hello? There they go.
Take that offline?
Sorry about that. That's my other line. I should have hit the mute button. My apologies.
That's alright. It wouldn't be epic sketch time if there wasn't stuff like that happening all the time.
Yeah.
So, I gotta ask, how has everybody's summer been?
I had a very nice 2 weeks in Maine with my folks. It was just enough for me to think it wasn't long enough, but being very glad to be back. But it was very nice there, with lots of communing with nature. Unfortunately, the one downside of it was a little tiny bit of nature came home with me in a way that I would not like.
Are we talking Lyme disease?
Well, we're talking a
Really?
carrier of Lyme disease, and I'm being properly cautious. So far, it looks like I'm good, but I'm pretty much going in with the assumption that I'm inflicting a 30-day quarantine on myself.
Huh.
It didn't. I mean, there's no symptoms whatsoever of the two big diseases that you get from deer ticks in Maine. So, for the most part, I'm comfortable in being pretty sure that I got off.
Are you sure it's not just a little paranoia on your part?
I regard it as a sensible caution. The Lyme disease and the other disease everybody talks about is a reality, and I know way too many people who have gotten it. So yeah, it's yes, in answer, yes, but at the same time, when it comes to this, the way I see it is I already have the one unmistakable symptom. I found a tick.
I spent a last week in Washington, D.C. Oh, pardon me, Washington, D.C., not Washington. And in Washington, D.C., I went to the IFVP conference, which is the International Forum of Visual Practitioners. Had a grand time there. And when I wasn't attending the conference, my wife and I were checking out the various art galleries of the Smithsonian.
Okay, that's cool.
Yes, well.
I forgot that you took your wife.
Oh yeah, she spent all the time that I was inside breakout sessions and in the hotel. She was, doing the Smithsonian thing, and checking out the national gardens and botany exhibits and arboretums.
That's awesome. How about everybody else? Oh, Patrick's on mute.
What about you, Stowe?
What did I do this summer? We took a
Aside from wait for
we took a huge road trip, which was a lot of fun. We went from Washington to Oregon to California to Nevada to Arizona to Utah, then to Idaho. So pretty much we did all of those states. Got to see some beautiful country. Took in the Grand Canyon. It was nice.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, I like the Grand Canyon. That was my first trip to the Grand Canyon, and it did not fail to impress. It was pretty amazing. And then I've been doing cartooning summer camps all like the entire month of July. And then my computer died again. And then I got a new computer, and now I'm here.
I bought myself a new laptop for the conference because my old laptop pretty much had that thing for 10 years.
Yeah, I have a companion, Cintiq Companion 2 now. I'm done with the Companion 1 and all of its horrible flaws. So now I have the Companion 2, and hopefully it doesn't have any horrible flaws. But I was almost done with that company. But luckily they treated my problem very well this time.
It's nice to know that they turned around their customer service.
I would agree, yes. I was very, very happy with their response time and their solutions to the problem. And, man, I cannot draw tonight.
So I noticed that someone who was invited in was a Marion Rezick.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're one of the people I met at.
At your conference?
Yes, well, there were a lot of international people at my conference.
I see.
It looks like all of her other friends are graphic facilitators, so possibly yes. I'm going to add her to my circle of friends for this drawing group. Now, I've been doing a vlog with a friend of mine, a lawyer friend named Daniel Abraham.
Yeah, you're doing a podcast with him, right?
Yeah, well, what we're doing is basically a Google on-air hangout, but we're trying to keep it down to like 5 minutes and on one very specific topic. because I don't want to take the time to spend any type of special editing, and he doesn't have the skill level to do that. So rather than put the complete onus on me, I figured.
Hangout for 5 minutes.
Well, I've discovered that what we're doing is we're hitting law topics, and we discuss a case, we discuss an aspect of the law, and we only spend 5 minutes on it so that people will spend time watching the videos, because I've noted there's a way of tracking how often people will watch the entire video and how much of it they'll watch before they stop watching it. And if your video is longer than 5 minutes and you haven't covered your subject by then, most people will stop watching. Unless it's something like a crash course by the Green Brothers or something of that nature. But if it's something like what we're doing now, most people won't watch the whole thing. And certainly not for an hour's worth.
Fascinating. See, I will watch this kind of thing, just have it on in the background while I'm working. Occasionally look at the stuff they're working on, and this is the kind of video that I enjoy.
For me, it very, very much depends on delivery. I mean, I can't really watch unless I'm using it as a screensaver. I really can't have a television show on because I'd get distracted by the visuals. I usually listen to audiobooks.
Yeah, I never watch TV. I always just listen to it.
You absorb it.
Yeah, exactly. It's really weird sometimes. I will go back and watch a show that I've clearly viewed and not realize that I never actually looked at it once. It is very strange to see things that on first viewing I completely missed.
Well, I can understand why people, when they're watching TV, they don't watch it, they rather listen to it, because there's so much exposition in television that you don't really need to watch the screen at all. Unlike a movie where, you know, if you take your eyes off the screen, you're going to miss a very important clue. At least that's my take as a movie buff.
Now, there are a few shows that I've put on to work, and it just sucks me in. I can't do it. Like, that Stranger Things started that way for me. I just put it on kind of in the background, and then after about 5 minutes, I realized I wasn't doing any work at all.
So that was Strange Things, right? Stranger Things?
Stranger Things, yeah. That show really took me.
Now, I think my wife is watching it just to keep me company, but I don't think she's as invested in.
Oh, really?
Well, I also don't think she's ever seen The Goonies.
Oh, well, she's seen, like, E.T. and stuff, right?
I have no idea if she's seen E.T. She is not.
What?
She
American human being has not seen E.T.
Well, she also might not have seen Star Wars. You know.
I have serious problems with that.
I thought you might. She thinks she's probably seen Star Wars all the way through, but she's not sure about which Star Wars she's seen all the way through and which Star Treks she's seen all the way through. She's not that geeky.
That is, and that, yeah, I'm speechless. Speechless.
Yeah, it took me several years to recover from that as well. So.
Hey, speaking of Star Trek, Star Wars, Have you seen the latest Star Trek?
I have not.
I have not either, and I want to know someone who has seen it before I waste my money and go see it myself. Because I did not like the first two, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to like this one. But
It's
who
been
knows?
getting
Maybe.
good reviews. The trailer didn't impress me.
Well, didn't the other two get good reviews too?
I didn't think so.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I mean, my attitude about it was that being out of Trekkie mode for almost 10 years, it being good science fiction was more important than it being good Star Trek, and what I saw of the science fiction wasn't impressing me.
Well, it wasn't good Star Trek either. Like, that was my major problem with the movies, is that it was not at all Star Trek.
Speaking of good movies, which I don't understand why more people have not seen, Stowe, you were telling me the other day that you have not seen any Sinbad movies.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I have a hard time understanding the fact, are you not a huge fan of Ray Harryhausen?
Well, I saw Clash of the Titans.
His last movie was Clash of the Titans.
Right, and I was like 11. But I didn't grow up with him, so his stop motion-y stuff doesn't really do anything for me.
Oh, speaking of classics, I finally saw Bringing Up Baby.
Oh, with Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn?
Yeah, Katharine Hepburn.
Pardon me, Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah, and it is hilarious.
I always enjoyed that movie. I just got through watching Mean Streets. I haven't seen that one before.
What is that?
Mean Streets was one of the first mobster movies that put, what's the director's?
Scorsese.
Yeah, put Martin Scorsese on the map.
Wow.
As a Robert
It was a premiere film?
Harvey Keitel.
Wow, how have I never seen that?
It's a lot more free form than you would think. And there's a lot of people wonder, where's the plot? But it came out during the 70s when the studios were trying all sorts of experimental movies just to get audiences into the theaters. So it went in a different direction. It wasn't something normal. It wasn't something that was highly mainstream. But at the time, it got a lot of attention and it did pretty well in the theaters.
Now to get him his other.
Yeah, it pretty much, he had done another, I think, one or two movies before that, but that's the one that really caught the other critics' eyes, and more importantly, other filmmakers started watching him. And his career really started bumping forward at that point. Still, I'm not sure, it doesn't capture you like, say, Goodfellas does, or like Casino. It's not that structured.
Gotcha.
I just got through watching Gary Cooper in Man of the West. I remember seeing that movie a long time ago, but I haven't watched it in a while. And it's become a bit of a a cult classic because there's this one French reviewer who's everyone. You know, it wasn't doing very well by American critics' standards at the time, but then this French reviewer just went on and on and on about it, and so now it's in the book of 1001 movies you must see before you die. But I can't say that I was terribly taken with it.
One of the new wave critics.
No, it had a good storyline. It's just I've seen stronger movies, like when he would later do High Noon. High Noon is way better in comparison. And if you haven't seen a High Noon, you gotta watch High Noon. Who here has seen High Noon? And don't say, "Oh, I watched Outland." Isn't that the same thing? No, it's not. But
Well, I watched what?
Outland with Sean Connery.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, Outland was basically High Noon set in space.
I don't think I've seen High Noon.
Nope.
I hadn't seen it. I'm ashamed to say that it was mostly dictated by how bad Outland was.
You guys are killing me.
So, how did last week's Epic Sketch Time go?
Pretty good.
Yeah? Who was involved?
Just me,
You and Pat?
And I.
yeah, and Matt.
Dina was there. Deanna.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed it, but I literally didn't have a computer at the time.
Yeah, excuses.
I was in D.C. having a terrific time. I seem to recall I was reading a book on bed and thinking, I could get on and do Epic Sketch Time, but nah.
You were reading a book on what?
I was reading a book in bed.
Oh.
Because that's what you do on vacation, right?
I guess.
Okay, when was the last time you read a book?
Me?
Yes.
I'm reading a book right now. I mean,
At this very moment?
not right at this moment now, but...
Okay.
I'm kind of curious, who's got the wind going in the background?
Me.
Oh, is that a fan? Are you hot where you are?
Yeah.
He's in
Well,
Chicago. It's the Windy City.
Oh, jeez. No, bad.
What?
Yeah, bad. No, it's, I don't know, mid-80s right now, and it's 10
That's
o'clock.
hot.
And it's,
So,
what, there, like 10?
yeah,
9?
10 p.m.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
I don't even think it got 80 here today.
We don't have AC in our unit because it's an old building. But yeah, it's 84 right now.
Oh, good gravy.
So I am in our dining room, and I have 3 open windows in front of me and the fan.
Well, feel free to turn that fan back on. I was just kind of curious where that noise was coming from.
Oh, it's still on. I didn't turn it off. That would be insane. And I'm actually one that really likes the heat, so I don't prefer it at 10 o'clock at night.
When I was in D.C., it was in the low 90s and had a high humidity, like around 80%. But thankfully, the hotel has beautiful air conditioning.
Yep.
And by the time I started going outside, whenever I went outside, it had cooled down a little bit. I think the only hot really hot day I went through was, oh, I think it was Friday.
Okay, this is beginning to feel good. See what you all think.
I like the line variation between the tree and the stones and the witches and
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. I'm not sure what's going on in the background.
Yeah, I think I want to do the rolling hills over again.
Do you really need them?
I'm not sure. Let's take a look. I wanted some. I was sort of figuring. I wanted some uh, sort of horizon.
Yeah, but I don't think you need all the hills. I think you could just do uh, like a uh, light arc in the
Mhm.
back, and then just have your sunset or whatever moon uh, skyline kind of thing, and without uh, without cluttering it with hills.
So I saw another movie, um, Clover, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Oh yeah, how was that?
I would have to say it's just as good as the first Cloverfield movie.
Oh,
Oh, I was gonna say, is it about where the monster lives in its time off?
It's actually relatively different. It took a smarter approach. There was more psychological terror than special effects terror, and that whole lost footage feel was completely dropped. They didn't do any of that. I hate lost footage.
yeah, that's good.
I'm not a big fan of that. So it might have actually been a little bit better. Plus, it's got John Goodman in it.
Uh,
Right, I enjoy him in most things.
I can't think of a film of his that I don't like.
The Flintstones.
Laughs aside, I don't have a problem with his performance, and I kind of like the world building in that. I mean, no, I'm not defending it, but
Was it who was it? Eddie Prince's performance as Barney, or who was Barney in that movie?
that was Rick Moranis.
Was it?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that why Rick Moranis retired?
No, it was because his wife died and he was taking care of the kids.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting that his wife died.
But I mean, for what was essentially a halfway convincing uh, uh,
I actually enjoyed the Flintstones because,
I mean, essentially, John Goodman's role consisted of doing a competent Jackie Gleason impersonation, and it worked in that for what his requirements were.
Wait, he was in Blues Brothers 2000. That was a terrible film.
Okay, that was a terrible film. Yes.
I I never watched the full Blues Brothers 2000, so it's hard for me to rate something that I haven't seen.
That one is only. I mean, I might recommend it soundtrack, but that was pretty much nothing but a music album, which happened to have some visuals with it. I dislike it even more because I'm a huge fan of the original.
Yeah, me too. And as much as I appreciate it being a good movie, I really hated Barton Fink.
You didn't like Barton Fink?
I didn't, no. And I try really hard.
Then you probably did not enjoy Inside Llewellyn Davis.
I never saw it, actually. But I wanted to see it.
I loved Barton Fink. I also saw, because I was on vacation, I could watch movies. Zootopia.
Oh, I was very pleasantly surprised by that.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
It's definitely on my buy the DVD for reference purposes list.
I'm having a hard time giving it more than a 6.
Really?
Wow.
Why? Because I know the things that you give higher than a 6 to, and
Well, for one thing, there were no dogs.
there
were cannons.
otters, okay? Those are
There were
warm.
there were canids though. I mean, the whole Howl thing.
Okay, I'm willing to give it a 7 because of the Breaking Bad reference made by the sheep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I mean, one of the few films that succeeded in making sheep scary.
Uh,
How about the Godfather references?
That's what really drove it down for me.
Really?
Yeah, oh my god.
But you have to at least give it respect that they did. They brought in the voice actor Maurice LaMarche to do it. Do you know what he's done?
No.
He did Brain from Pinky and the Brain.
Okay, I thought I recognized that name.
And let me find out what he's done.
He's a very prolific voice actor, that guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's his brain is such a pitch perfect Orson Welles impersonation.
He's done stuff on Futurama. He began on Inspector Gadget. Did
I have never seen Inspector Gadget. How bad is that film?
Well, I'm talking about the
Wait,
cartoon series.
which Inspector Gadget?
The movie. The first movie.
The one with
Matthew Broderick.
I've never seen that.
There was more than one.
There were 2 Inspector Gadget movies.
Yeah, there was a sequel.
Why? I mean, well, most of my complaints about Hollywood have nothing to do with their impeding the desire to make money. Was it one of the ones that did well in China?
To be honest, though, I've never actually seen the entire film. So, I can't say anything good or bad about it. I'm kind of curious, though, who here has actually seen the 1938 The Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn?
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Did you know that Olivia de Havilland is still alive?
No.
She on July 6th, she celebrated her 100th birthday.
She was Maid Marian?
Yes. Has anyone else seen any other movies lately?
Zootopia was the last movie I saw in theaters when it came out.
What did you see?
Zootopia was the last one I saw in theaters when it came out. Like, I think I saw it opening weekend, but with the move and everything, going to the movies hasn't been.
I recently saw Ghostbusters and loved it.
I've been putting it off. I'm planning to see it with a friend, and he keeps having life happen to him.
It really surprised me how good it was. I loved everything about it. Well, I could have done without the Dan Aykroyd cameo. That was pretty rough. But everything else was really good.
Did you go with your kids, Jim?
I did, yeah.
How did they like it?
They both loved it. My daughter especially. But my son liked it too. Everybody laughed, and although it did scare my daughter quite a bit for several days after.
Well, it makes sense for the Ghostbusters film. I haven't seen it, this new one, but, figures.
I would recommend seeing it. I thought it was very good.
Have you guys heard of this book, 101 Movies You Need to See Before You Grow Up?
Before you grow up?
Before you grow up.
Oh, too late for that then.
I have not heard of that book.
I'm kind of curious to know what movies are on the list.
Mad Max. I'm trying to think of the most inappropriate films. The World According to Garp.
Oh. Never seen that one in its entirety. I've seen huge bits of it, and I generally find it very depressing.
Yeah, it's not a feel-good movie.
I also read the book. I mean, all of his books are depressing in a strange, tragicomic way.
Okay, I think I'm done with my Stickman strip. Feel free to mock it. let me know if you find any spelling errors. As always, it's actually taken from the headlines.
Oh yeah, the turtle burger thing. I saw that earlier today. That was weird. Did you actually read the article? Because I just read the headline, and I'm like, well, that's all I need to know about that story.
I think I read about the first paragraph. But yeah, it's this Chinese guy, and to try to smuggle his pet turtle by putting it inside. He bought a hamburger or a chicken sandwich, if you want to get technical, at like a Wendy's, and then took out the patty and put in the turtle. But on the X-ray, the technicians were noticing that this sandwich had 4 feet. So.
No, you can make some pretty tasteless jokes about fast food as a defense.
Yeah, if it came from McDonald's, it might be fitting.
Why he did it?
It was his pet. He didn't want to leave his pet behind.
Right, but why didn't he just, like, bring it on board? I mean, if he wasn't turtle smuggling...
I mean, all he'd have to do is say it's his emotional support pet.
That's right.
And that's all you have to say. And they don't give you any questions, even if it's something as absurd as a snake.
Wait, for serious? You can bring a support snake on board a plane?
It's not the plane that's the issue, it's international quarantine stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if he was on a local flight or an international flight.
Because as a fat guy, I gotta say, I want to try to bring a snake on a plane with me. Then I could be the worst human being to ever sit next to.
Well, there was this one guy that had a trench coat that was filled with, let's see, spiders, geckos, frogs.
Oh my!
Mice. And what was it? Number of lizards. I mean, he had almost 80 critters on it in his trench coat.
Wow.
It's an accommodating trench coat.
And then there's the person that tried to pretend that he was fat when he was trying to smuggle his pet monkey.
I've tried to use that excuse.
Does that work both ways? If people ask me, have you put on weight? I say, no, I'm just smuggling a monkey under my shirt, is all.
I'll try it. I'll let you know. Actually, monkey smuggling is my new favorite term for gaining weight.
Next time my dad goes on one of his body shaming tangents, I'll try it.
Yes, apparently Bill had nothing to eat when he was in Maine.
Oh, really? Is your father a thin man?
My father is a very thin man who's who's obsessed about blood pressure due to his father dying of a ruptured aorta, and he's convinced I'm supposed to weigh 185 pounds. Yeah, that was my response too. I mean, just about every health chart I've ever seen says that my ideal weight is 220. Bad enough trying to figure out how I'm going to lose 30 pounds, let alone what he's suggesting.
Has he always been on you about weight?
On again, off again. He'd mostly gotten. I'd had a few. I'd hoped he'd mostly gotten over it, considering he didn't say a thing during what I freely admit was a bit of a butterball phase I had when I was doing weightlifting and doing that stupid have 200 grams of protein thing.
Gentlemen, I'm going to say goodnight to you all.
Good night.
Wow, has it been an hour?
Not
Practically.
yet.
Not quite, but I'm dead tired tonight, and I'm done with my comic, so I'm going to say goodnight, and I'll see you next week. By the way, if anyone you want to join, there's a graphic facilitation oriented discussion that happens online on Thursdays called let's see, the name of the group is Mastermind,
Mm-hmm.
and it's at 5 o'clock
Pacific?
Pacific.
Yeah, I actually wanted to learn a little bit more about that. I'm curious.
So if you want to get in on that group, you'll have to have me invite you in, because I think it's a private group right now.
Okay.
And Stowe, I will see you tomorrow night at the Claw member-only meeting.
Sure will.
Would you be so kind as to send out a query for agenda items?
Sure. No problem.
Because I mentioned something about that yesterday.
Yep. Still not my job, though.
No, it is.
No, it's the president's job.
And it's your job to support the president when he drops the ball.
That doesn't mean do his job for him.
Have you called him?
I talked to him online.
Politics.
Right? Airing of the dirty laundry.
Good night, people.
Night.
Night.
I guess it's not everyone. It's Monlux.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, since you're on a new computer, and did your old computer just explode or something?
The same defect happened a third time.
Ah.
Yeah.
Now, to safeguard against losing stuff,
I
I'll throw-
back fairly regularly.
and let me throw this out to the rest of the group too. What kind of backup software or regimens do people have?
Time machine.
I do it all manually, just to make sure that I'm doing it, because I've had hiccups with Time Machine and programs like that in the past. I do a double backup system. I have two dedicated external hard drives, and I back up to each one of them about every 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Or whenever a major freelance project is done, that automatically gets backed up.
Yeah, I just bought a 5 terabyte one as sort of my master one. I'm debating just how to use it at the moment. I mean, yes, obviously I know how to use a huge hard drive, but but at the same time, there's a lot of archive stuff that I've been concerned has been taking up too much time, too much space in my regular computer. And if I were to move a lot of the stuff that important archives that I'm
So
using,
wait, do you keep everything on your computer?
I'm seeing that my paranoia is correct.
I only keep my current projects on my computer itself.
Okay,
I usually, when something is done, I back it up to. I have like a really portable 2 terabyte drive,
right.
and I back it up to that, and that way, if I need it, I can just pull it off that drive. But otherwise, I don't like a lot of stuff sitting on my computer for, well, obvious reasons. It slows
Right.
down. It slows down the computer. I could possibly lose it. Uh, so yeah, I generally remove stuff as much as I can off my computer.
Okay, that is useful to know.
So I have a dedicated backup where I don't touch it. I just add stuff to it, and then
Mhm.
I have kind of like a portable one that goes with me places that I use as like an active memory storage thing.
Right. That's sounding what I get the feeling that sounds like what I should be doing with this new hard drive.
I don't know, Pat, Brett, what do you guys do?
I actually leave everything on my computer. I back up about once a month, just because my laptop I bought within the past year or 2 years, so it's fairly fast and has like 500 gigs of memory. I mean, of uh, hard drive to it. So, um, and I tend to uh, reference a lot of my old scripts. So those things I like to keep around.
Yeah, every time I use an old strip for reference, I usually just attach the drive and pull it.
Yeah, in my case, that wouldn't make much of a difference because along with my huge strip archives, I also have this little strip database that has all that is an ongoing reference for me, which has all the GIFs in it
Right.
that are no bigger than the ones that are online.
And I also use the libraries. If you guys, can you see my screen? Can you
Hmm.
see the My Library? I tend to use that as well for because I work in vector, so usually when I create a new character or an art asset I know I'm going to be using repeatedly, I add it to the Adobe library, which is saved on the cloud, and that way I can pull it directly from the program.
Hmm.
Like I can just grab here. Let me show you. I can say I want this. I can just grab it, drag it, and boom, it's right there.
Hmm.
If you guys haven't started using, well, if you guys are using Adobe products and do not use the library, I recommend using the library.
Hmm.
That is
Now
my
is that
helpful tip for today.
I'd have to see if my version's compatible because I'm running CS4, so I'm a couple versions back.
Oh yeah, it's a fairly newish feature, not completely new, but if you are not using the subscription service, I actually don't even know if it would benefit
Yeah,
you at all.
yeah, I'm not using it.
Yeah, I know you swear by the subscription
I do, and I would urge people to use it, but I totally understand why people do not want to spend $25 to $50 a month to create artwork. That being said, I can't think of a way to do it otherwise. I'm completely converted.
But you also use, I mean, you do freelance and everything, so you
What's
have a
that?
you do it for work too, right?
That is
Like
correct,
here.
yes.
So, I mean, it makes sense because it's a business expense slash,
Yeah, no, exactly. That's how I see it.
yeah. I mean, if I was doing freelance or web design or anything like that, more in a creative capacity, yeah, that would make sense. But
Yeah, I mean, I know I'll probably be forced to. Well, I've been saying this for the last year or so. I know it's only a matter of time before I'm pretty much forced to do it. But I mean, heck, I was forced to do it with Evernote.
So, I mean, there's if you're just doing comics, there's always like Manga Studio.
I'm Yeah, I mean, because Manga Studio, I'm beginning to like. I'm using Manga Studio right now, and I find drawing from scratch on it a lot more intuitive.
Then Photoshop?
Yeah, I know it sounds silly. I mean, at the very least, it has a straight line tool, which Photoshop does not.
Interesting. Wait, I'm sure that you can. There's an alt function that will allow you to draw a straight line in Photoshop.
Uh,
I'm sure of it.
One that I always knew about is pretty tough to control properly. I'll look again.
I mean, I could be wrong. I generally use Illustrator a lot more than Photoshop, especially for drawing, but I'm sure you can do it.
Yeah. But at this moment, I definitely like the drawing from scratch functions on Manga Studio better. I'm still going through the learning curve on it. For example, I'll definitely stick to coloring on Photoshop because I've yet to figure out how to drop colors down different layers the way I do in Photoshop.
Well, gentlemen, it's time I say goodnight. It's about 11:37 my time, so it's Betty Bye time for me.
Well, it was great to talk to you, Pat. Actually, Mike
Welcome back.
home any minute, so I'm probably going to get out of here too.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you all next week.
That we are back in the swing of things. I will see you all next week. Thank you, everyone who watched. I'm not sure if anyone watched, but thank you for watching. We will be back next week.
You all have a good one.
Yeah, you too.